Speaking of that, Kyle Neddenriep joining us. I was just talking, Kyle. I cannot believe we're in August and it's in the 70s and no humidity and I've talked about it a few times. Buddy, I remember playing in high school football in Southern Indiana, and it seemed like I was in hell for 2 weeks, 2-a-days. It was like always 1,000 degrees with 1,000% humidity. It was always the hottest it could be. And I'm like, wow, this is like a dream for football right now.
You had to walk uphill both ways, miles.
Exactly.
To practice and back. And
we didn't have any of the good equipment, all of the bad stuff, all that. Yeah. Leftovers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been, we had we did 3 separate photo shoots for our preview section. And last night had our last one, and it was beautiful night, great night. And, had it out at one of the local stadiums at Brebeuf, and they were just coming off the field, and really couldn't ask for any better setting. I know it's been a little hotter, it was in July, got a little bit toasty, but couldn't ask for anything better for the start of practice. And hopefully that continues, and then next week we'll be into the scrimmage schedules next Friday, and then we'll be here in 2 weeks basically for the start of the season. So I know I got a lot of work to do until we get our preview stuff done here, but that first week always feels like you kind of sit back and enjoy it, the first week once you get a lot of work done.
Well, and it's always exciting to see high school season come around. Who's going to be at the top? Any changes? A lot of players coming back, some that have gone away, but a lot of talent in the state of Indiana this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you start with probably Center Grove again, and I did. Caden Curry was at I haven't even reported this or anything, but I was talking to him just sort of about his decision, and he said probably it'll be sometime in October. He wants to take his official visits and do all that sort of thing, and I think he's going to go to the Ohio State Oregon game. I believe that's September 11th or right around, or pretty early in September. Said good things about IU still, but I think he wants to take his visits. He actually wants to go to Oregon too. That's one of his finalists. He wants to see a game setting out there, which I know is pretty cool. So, still got a lot to decide, obviously, but he'll be coming down to the last couple of months here, it sounds like, in his process. But yeah, Center Grove is really, loaded, and, talked to Eric Moore earlier this week. He's going through some health issues, unfortunately, and his kidneys are probably even more problematic. He's got 2 separate health issues, and the kidneys are probably the more serious even than the cancer he had in his bladder. So, just a really tough situation for him, but he's got a great team. I know he's looking forward to seeing what they can do. And, he talked about this the other day, but, can you find the hunger, that they had last year to win a 6A state championship? Can you repeat that hunger, that sort of, intangible thing that's sometimes difficult to do. It's why you don't see that many back-to-back champions, I think. And, some of that has to do with graduation and teams turning over, but, it's hard to kind of stay at that mountaintop. But if there's any team that can do it, it's probably that one. But I would say them and Cathedral was really good last year. They're loaded again. They're 5A, of course, but I'll be curious to see in 6A who kind of rises to that level of, kind of competing with Center Grove, and, who can kind of raise their game. And there's obviously a lot of teams around here that have done that in the past, but no candidates that really stand above the rest at this point.
And then, of course, who's standing out? Who are some of the teams that you see as coming around? Surprises, maybe, as we know the stalwarts, but who's somebody that may surprise some folks?
Well, yeah, it's always interesting. I would say in 6A, it's a little harder to find those surprise teams just because it is a lot of the same year in and year out annual, powerhouses around here for sure. I think there's probably a few that are, HCC teams, and even Westfield, to an extent, they still feel like, even though they were in the state championship game last year, they still feel like kind of one of those teams that you're not thinking about it at first glance. And I think they're going to be, they're loaded again. Popeye Williams, who's going to Louisville, Micah Hauser, who's, running back and safety. And, they have their starting quarterback back again, Maximus Webster. they're going to be really good, and they have the benefit of going from the north side of the bracket in 6A, which, as Dylan knows, is that's always an easier side to come from, because all the MIC teams and the state champions of the past are coming from the south, including Carmel, which is sent to the south now. And Carmel used to run into the Fort Wayne teams and the Northern Indiana teams, but now they're going south with Brownsburg, Avon, and Pike, for at least for the next year until the IHSAA reclassifies again. So Westfield kind of has a clear path. The only, I would say if you're talking surprise teams, maybe teams you're not thinking about, Fishers and HSE they were both sub 500 last year, but I think will both be better. They're in the same section with Westfield, and I think could challenge them. Maybe more so than any team in that north side of the bracket. So that's something to kind of look out for. And then I think, Warren Central is not fair to call them a surprise team, but they were really young last year, weren't very good offensively. I think that they're going to be better going into this year. Mike Kirshner is going to, I think, kind of as great of a coach as Jason West was, and he's at Franklin Central now. I think getting a new coach in there like Mike Kirshner is going to kind of re-energize things at Warren. I would look for them to maybe be a team that, they were 4-6 last year, very unusual for them. I think they're going to have a good bounce back year. And even last year in a 6-loss season, they were really good defensively and have a lot of guys on that side of the ball coming back. So, there's always a handful of teams out there that are going to kind of come up and surprise. I would say, Fishers, HSE to an extent. I think Warren Central, strange as it is to call them a surprise, I think they could be, maybe be that second team in the MIC this year that can challenge Center Grove.